So today we're going to work with a focus on the feet and ankles and legs with an emphasis on grounding. And we're also going to work with the pranic energy of Apanavayu. And so Apanavayu is one of the 5 subsets of prana and is the grounding and descending force in the body. It governs emotional and physical elimination. So just a little, there'll be some cues throughout the class to send the energy down and out through the feet. There'll be some cues to engage into the pelvic floor. And this will all help to stimulate this Apanavayu or downward descending energy and will help us become a little more grounded. In my opinion, we can't do enough grounding practices in our lives these days. So I hope you enjoy. We are going to begin. So you're going to need a block and a blanket and a yoga mat, of course. And we're going to begin on our back in constructive rest pose. And so when you come down onto your back, you're going to walk your feet to the floor in fairly close to your seat. And then you're going to heel toe your feet wide. So not quite as wide as the mat, but a little wider than your hips. And it may feel comfortable for you to just let the knees rest there, angled up towards the sky. Or I like to just rest my knees together and let them fall towards each other. Just allow the back side of the torso to settle. And the arms can be in a number of different positions alongside the body with palms facing up. You can take them out wide from the shoulders or even take them up overhead. Once you find your constructive rest pose physically, then close the eyes and begin to settle your awareness internally into the body. We're going to draw awareness to the back side of our body, beginning with the soles of the feet. So feel the connection of the soles of the feet to the earth. Your awareness into the hips and pelvis, noticing the back of the pelvis, the sacrum, settling this energy, this space, heavier and deeper into the support of the earth. Moving your awareness up through the spine, noticing the space between the low back and the floor. To the upper back and shoulders where you feel grounded. Feel a connection of the upper back and shoulders to the earth. Notice the backs of the arms, backs of the hands, depending on what position your arms are in. Going a little further up to the back of the neck, notice the space between the back of the neck and the floor. Draw awareness to the back of the head, connection there to the earth. And feel all of these points of contact of your back body with the earth. Settle into that awareness, feeling the whole back body heavy and supported. Maybe even noticing how the earth lifts up here to support you. Feel that connection. And then draw your awareness to the breath. So for this practice, we're going to work with a one-to-one breath, an even breath, Samavritti. And basically that is just matching the inhale, the length of the inhale with the length of the exhale. So find that Samavritti, even breath, one-to-one ratio. And that could be different from a day-to-day basis, finding what that even breath is for you. Be here in this grounded space supported by the earth, focusing on your one-to-one breath ratio for about 10 more breaths. Continue to maintain awareness of your breath throughout the remainder of this practice. I will continue to remind you to breathe into this one-to-one ratio as we practice. So release the arms back down alongside the body if they're not there already. And heel toe the feet back to hip width apart, walking your heels as close to your seat as you comfortably can. And we're gonna first work with a root lock. And just to kind of engage a little bit into that Apana Vayu. And working with the breath as well. So just maybe 3 to 5 breaths here working with this root lock. Take in a nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, draw up and in through the pelvic floor. Drawing the low belly from the pubic bone to the navel back towards the spine. And on the inhale, release from the low belly to the pelvic floor. Exhale, drawing the pelvic floor up and in gently, drawing the low belly in from pubic bone to navel, and releasing on the inhale from the navel down to the pelvic floor. A couple more breaths like that. And then we're going to continue to work with that lock as we move in and out of dynamic bridge pose. So bridge pose is lifting of the hips. And we're going to add the arms here as well. So take an inhale, press down into the feet and legs to lift the hips up off the floor and reach the arms up overhead. On the exhale, begin to roll the spine back down, lowering the hips, lowering the arms, and then drawing in through the pelvic floor and engaging through the low belly. Inhale, release the root lock, lift the hips up off the floor as you press down into the feet using the legs, reaching the arms up overhead. And exhale, lower, rolling the spine back down to the floor. Engaging into that root lock, drawing the pelvic floor in as you land, low belly in. Again, inhale, release the root lock, lift the hips, reach the arms up overhead. Feel that connection of the feet to the floor. And exhale, release the arms and roll the spine back down, landing and engaging into that root lock. Gently drawing the pelvic floor up and in, and drawing the low belly back towards the spine. So move through that sequence 2 more times at your own pace. Inhaling to lift and release the lock. Arms arms up overhead, hips lift, feet to the floor. And exhale, lowering the arms, the spine, the hips, drawing in through your lock. One more time at your own pace. So for this last time, go ahead and press down into the feet on the inhale. Lift the hips, releasing the lock. And this time we're just going to hold here. So release the arms back down alongside the body. Hips are lifted. The weight is balanced between the feet and the shoulders and the back of the head. And then wiggle the shoulders a little closer under the body, maybe taking a bind with the hands beneath the hips. And so we're just going to focus our energy here on the feet and the legs. So feel the feet pressing gently down into the floor. The legs are strong and engaged. For a moment, take an inhale. And then on the exhale, release the hips a little bit lower, just an inch or two lower, not all the way to the floor. Soften the glutes, soften the pelvis. And then as you inhale, press back down into the feet, engaging the legs, and lift the hips back a little bit higher, but try not to squeeze the glutes here, finding more energy into the feet and the strength of the legs, these large muscles in the legs, quadriceps, hamstrings. Holding here for a couple more breaths, even breath, 1-to-1 ratio. Feeling strong through the feet and legs. Tailbone lengthens towards the heels. Low belly gently draws in. One more inhale. Release the bind of the hands if you have that. And as you exhale, releasing the spine, rolling the spine back down to the floor, releasing the hips to the floor. Relax the arms alongside the body and let the knees fall wide here, placing the soles of the feet together. Reclining bound ankle. Just noticing this energy of the soles of the feet connected. The knees wide. And then let's find a little engagement here. Take a nice big inhale. And on the exhale, press the knees into the floor. Squeeze the glutes a little bit. And then again, engage in the pelvic floor, drawing the pelvic floor in and up, drawing the low belly back towards the spine. On the inhale, release all of that. Low belly, pelvic floor, relax the legs. On the exhale, press the knees to the floor, squeeze the glutes, draw in through the root, pelvic floor, low belly back toward the spine. And on the inhale, releasing. Low belly, pelvic floor, glutes, softening the legs. Do that one more time on the exhale. Press the knees into the floor. Squeeze the glutes. Pelvic floor draws up and in, low belly back towards the spine. On the inhale, soften. Low belly, pelvic floor, glutes and legs. And then just breathe here, 1-to-1 breath ratio, and relax and soften the whole body. Melting the back body into the floor. About 3 more breaths. Relaxing all efforts. Take your hands to the outsides of your knees and help yourself to draw your knees back together and give yourself a hug, drawing knees in towards the chest. Taking each hand to your shins and pressurizing the legs in towards the torso. And breathe here, squeezing it in. And then release, roll onto either side. And use your hands to press yourself up and off the floor and into tabletop position. Finding your way into hands and knees. So to begin here in tabletop position, we're going to work with Chakravakasana, or a kneeling forward bend. And it's almost like a child's pose, but not quite. You don't come all the way down into your child's pose. So walk the palms a little bit in front of the shoulders. And the knees are going to be directly under the hips. Knees hip width apart, palms shoulder width apart. So on the inhale, you're just going to move the chest gently forward and lift the chin. So it's a little bit of a cow pose, just a slight cow pose, arching the spine. And then on the exhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis back and lean the hips back towards the heels, not coming all the way down. Bending the elbows and drawing the forehead towards the floor. So it's not quite a child's pose, it's about halfway down. Inhaling, lifting back to hands and knees, chest moves forward and up, the chin moves up. And on the exhale, hips move back towards the heels, lowering the forehead down, bending at the elbows, kind of kneeling down, bowing down towards the earth. So let's do 3 more like that. Inhale back to hands and knees, drawing the chest forward, chin lifts. Exhale, hips back towards the heels. Releasing the head down, relaxing the elbows. Inhale, back to hands and knees, chest moves forward, chin lifts. And exhale, tilt the pelvis back. Hips towards the heels, relaxing the forehead and the arms towards the earth. 1 more. Inhale, lift back to hands and knees, chest moves forward. Lift the chin. And then exhale, tuck the tail, release the hips towards the heels. Relax the head down, releasing and relaxing the elbows. Inhaling, coming back to hands and knees. This time on the exhale, curl the toes under and lift the hips up into downward facing dog. So we're going to continue this movement, adding down dog. On the exhale, find your way back to, on the inhale, find your way back to hands and knees, chest moves forward, chin lifts. Exhale, back down to a modified child's pose, hips towards the heels, kneeling the forehead and the arms down towards the earth. Inhale, hands and knees, chest moves forward, chin lifts. Exhale, lift the hips, curl the toes, downward facing dog pose. Tailbone lifts, sits bones lift, inner thighs move back. Inhale, back to hands and knees. Chest moves forward, chin lifts. Exhale, tilt the pelvis back, hips towards the heels. Relax the head forward towards the earth. Relax the elbows. Inhale, back to hands and knees. Chest moves forward, lift the chin. Curl the toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. Hips lift. Inhale, back to hands and knees. Chest moves forward, chin lifts. Exhale, draw the tailbone down, hips towards the heels. Relax the head, relax the elbows. 1 more time. Inhale to hands and knees, lifting the chest moves forward, lifting the chin. Curl the toes under. Exhale, downward facing dog. And here we're going to hold. So if it feels good, begin to pedal out the feet, drawing the heels one at a time towards the earth. Feel grounded through the roots of your palms. Feel that sense of being grounded through the upper body, through the hands. At the same time, lift up through the sits bones, through the tailbone. Feel that energy lifting as you elongate through the spine. And then find some stillness here, rooting down through the backs of the legs and the heels. A few breaths. Relaxing the head down towards the floor, maybe gazing behind you. Try not to crunch up through the shoulders, creating a little space there between the ears and the shoulders. And feel more of the energy down through the palms, up through the hips and pelvis, and back down through the heels. So let's add a little more dynamic movement here to build some heat. As you inhale, shift the torso forward and lengthening into a plank pose. Lengthening back through the heels, forward through the chest and the crown. On the exhale, move right back up to downward facing dog, drawing in through the core as you move up and back. 2 more times like that. Inhaling forward into plank pose. Elongate through the back body as you engage through the front body. Exhale, back to down dog, lifting the hips, rooting through the palms and the heels. 1 more, inhale, shift forward to plank pose. Lengthen back through heels, through crown, through chest. And then exhale, back to downward facing dog, drawing in from the core, but rooting through the palms, lifting through the hips, tailbone, sits bones, rooting back down through the heels. Holding here, 3 breaths, down dog. So long hold here. And then a little more dynamic moving here in downward facing dog, this time just with the feet. So this time as you inhale, root down through the hands, but lift the heels high. And then on the exhale, root the heels back down towards the earth. 2 more times like that, lifting through the heels, pressing down into the palms and the balls of the feet. Exhale, root back down through the heels, reach towards the floor. 1 more time, lift the heels high. And exhale, lower the heels back down towards the earth. Take 1 more breath in your downward facing dog. And then release the knees to the floor and sit back on your heels into a child's pose. So in this child's pose, we're going to do 2 things. We're going to reconnect to that 1-to-1 breath ratio. So find that smooth, even breath. Noticing the breath here more so in the back body, feeling it into the low back. Maybe feeling the pelvis expanding and contracting with that breath. Then we're going to find that sense of being rooted into the earth. So feel the connection of your forehead to the earth. If your forehead does not touch the earth, use the block here. Place the block under the forehead. And then feel where your legs are connected to the earth, the tops of the feet connected to the earth. Settling these parts of the body into the support of the earth. Noticing how the earth lifts up to support you, holding you here in this space. Now walk your hands back towards your torso, towards your legs, and you're just going to lift the torso to an upright position, and you're seated in a kneeling position, hero pose. We're going to work through a couple yin poses here to help stretch and strengthen the feet, which in my opinion is extremely important in the grounding process, especially as we move about our day. We have strong and connected feet, we have more of a sense of grounding. All right, so lift back up to hands and knees, tabletop position, and curl the toes under. And then go ahead and sit back onto your heels, placing the weight of the upper body onto the toes, basically. The toes are curled under, so you're sitting back on your heels. Now, If this is too much, you can lean forward and rest the hands on the floor if you need to do that as well. If you can tolerate it and hold it for about 60 seconds, we're just going to sit here on our heels with the toes curled under. Finding that 1-to-1 breath ratio, closing your eyes if that feels okay. You can place the palms on your heart together at your heart center, or rest the hands on your thighs. Just tuning into the breath here with all of that pressure down on your toes as you stretch the soles of the feet. Let's take 3 more breaths here. Doing a great job to tolerate all of that weight on the feet. One more inhale. Exhale to release the hands back to the floor. Come back to hands and knees. Uncurl the toes and just gently tap the tops of the feet on the floor. Tapping one at a time. And then release that. Sit back onto your heels again in hero pose. And we're going to counter stretch that by stretching through the tops of the feet and the ankles. So walk your fingertips back behind you. Start to lean into your fingertips or maybe even the heels of the hands. And as you do this, you're going to lift the knees up off the floor. So feel that deep stretch through the front of the feet, through the front of the ankles, and into the shins. All of the weight is leaning back onto the heels and stretching through the front of the feet. So you can hold here with the knees lifted and breathing, finding that 1-to-1 breath ratio. Or you can find more of a balance here. You can take the hands together at the heart center, or you can place the hands again on the thighs, keeping the knees lifted if you can. Holding here, breathing. Knees are lifted up off the floor. The weight is in the feet and the heels. Do not allow yourself to collapse through the chest. Maintain an elongated spine and a lift through the chest as you hold here and breathe. Let's take 3 more breaths. And then release the knees back down to the floor, coming back to hands and knees, so walking your hands back under the shoulders. Again, if you want to tap the feet out on the floor a couple times. And then curl the toes under, pressing down into your palms. Lift the hips up and back to downward facing dog. So stretching out through the backs of the legs. Releasing all of that pent up energy in the feet and ankles. And then find your way to the front of the mat. Walk your feet forward to the front of the mat any way you want to get there. Landing in a relaxed forward fold, ragdoll variation. So knees are going to be soft and bent here. Pay attention to the soles of the feet. Feel rooted through all 4 corners of your feet. Notice if you're leaning forward or back, and try and find balance between the front and the back of the feet. Press the feet down into the earth. Feel the hips and the sits bones lifting higher towards the sky. And release the torso down over the thighs, over the legs. Just feel the whole spine cascading down. And if you like to take opposite hands to opposite elbows here, allowing the upper body to hang in traction. Feeling the weight of the head, the weight of the arms kind of open up the vertebrae of the cervical spine and the upper back. Again, feeling the feet, feeling the soles of the feet pressing down into the earth, rooting down, feeling that sense of connectedness to the earth. Let's take one more full breath here. And release the hands to the shins. As you inhale, lift the torso halfway, finding this halfway lift to elongate the spine. And then take your thumbs into the creases of your hips and feel that. That's where you should be bending from. The knees can still be bent here. Elongate here from the whole spine, from tailbone up through the crown of the head. And on your next inhale, press down into the feet. Inhale up to standing, unhinging from your hip creases. Moving all the way up to standing into mountain pose. Release the arms down alongside the body. And so here we're going to play a little more with this Apana Vayu. So just take notice here in your mountain pose. Once again, just notice the soles of the feet connected to the earth. Try not to lean forward or back or side to side. Find that even middle ground. And press down into the feet to activate the legs. Lift through the spine. Lift through the center of the chest, all the way up through the crown of the head. And on the exhale, maintain that strong stance, but soften your edges here, softening the face, all the muscles in the face, softening the heads of the shoulders, a gentle softness in the belly. So strong stance in your mountain pose, feeling rooted and connected to the earth with soft edges. And let's work again with this 1-to-1 breath ratio, focusing on the exhale, moving the breath down through the legs to the soles of the feet. So inhale, draw your awareness to the crown of the head. And then exhale, move the awareness down the spine, down through the legs, down through the soles of the feet into the earth. Inhale, awareness back to the crown. Exhale, move the breath down through the body, through the legs, all the way down to the soles of the feet and into the earth. One more time, inhale, awareness to the crown. Exhale, the energy down through the body, through the soles of the feet, into the earth. Inhale, awareness into the hips and pelvis. Exhale the breath down through the legs, through the soles of the feet, into the earth. 2 more. Inhale, awareness into the pelvis. Exhale the breath through the legs, through the feet, into the earth. 1 more. Inhale, breath to the pelvis. Exhale, move the breath, move the energy down through the legs, through the soles of the feet, into the earth. Downward flow of energy. Now just be here in your mountain pose for about 5 more breaths, just feeling how that downward flow of energy serves you, serves your body. Now take your hands to your hips. And let's step the left leg back to the back of the mat. So quite a big step. And then we're going to rotate the hips and torso to the long edge of your mat, to the left side long edge of your mat. We're setting up for Warrior 2 pose. So the front foot, the toes will face towards the front short edge of your mat. And the back foot, the left foot, will be parallel to the back edge of your mat. The toes will point towards the long edge. And so we're just going to kind of draw this line of energy between the front heel into that back arch. So keeping your hands on your hips here, we're going to have more awareness into the legs. So we begin to release that front knee over the front ankle. So right knee over the right ankle. Right side is your lunged leg. Moving into warrior two legs. And then as you inhale, extend the arms directly out from your shoulders. Softening through the shoulders, lengthening through the fingertips. Feel more of the energy in the legs, the soles of the feet and the legs. And we're going to move dynamically here before we hold the pose. So as you inhale, stretch the right leg straight, pressing down into the foot. Reach the arms up overhead alongside the ears. And then exhale, move right back to warrior two, anchoring that right knee over the ankle, extending the arms from the shoulders. Inhale, stretch the right leg straight, arms up overhead. Exhale, warrior two. Press down into the feet. Inhale, straighten the right leg, reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, back to warrior two, extending the arms out from the shoulders. Feeling that energy in the feet and the legs. Softness through the upper body. Lightening and lifting through the spine, elongating the spine. All the way up through the crown. You can gaze softly over the right fingertips. But feel most of the energy here through the feet, through the legs. That back leg is strong and anchored. Let's hold for 3 more breaths. Strong through the legs and feet. And then release your hands back to your hips. Stretch that right leg straight again. And then pivot the right toes now so that both feet are parallel to the long edge of your mat. So you'll be facing the left side, long edge of your mat. And we're going to do this again on the other side. Simply by turning now the left toes out to the side towards the short edge of the mat. And keeping the right foot parallel to the short edge of your mat. And then keeping your hands at your hips here, release the left knee over the left ankle, lunging into that warrior two legs. And then inhale, sweep the arms straight out from the shoulders with a relaxed effort in the upper body. So feel the feet, feel the legs, and then we'll dynamically move to find this pose. Pressing down into the feet, inhale, stretch the left leg straight as you reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, settle down into warrior two legs, extending the arms long. Straight out from your shoulders. Inhale, press into the feet, stretch the left leg straight, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, settle down into your warrior two. Knee releases over the ankle, left side. One more time, pressing into the feet, strong legs, straighten the left leg, reach the arms up overhead. And then exhale, release the left knee back over the ankle, warrior two legs, release the arms straight out from the shoulders. Extending light through the arms. Feel the feet here, feel connected to the earth, pressing the feet down into the earth. Strong legs, anchoring back down through that right foot, which is the back leg here. And feel the lightness through the spine, elongating through the spine, up through the crown, as you extend long through the fingertips, gazing softly over the left fingertips here. Warrior two, left side, 3 more breaths, 1-to-1 breath ratio. Your hands back to your hips, stretching that left leg straight, and then pivoting the left toes back to the long edge side of your mat. So now we're going to move into a wide leg forward fold, but So look at your feet. Make sure the feet are either parallel to the short edges of your mat, or you can even walk the toes slightly inward, finding that pigeon-toed feet. Before we move into our fold, let's set the legs here, set the feet. So feel press down through all four corners of your feet, maybe even a little more energy to the outer edges of the feet as you lift through the inner arches. Hands are at the hips. Take an inhale to elongate through the spine. On the exhale, begin to fold forward, tilting the pelvis forward as well. So feel the sits bones, the tailbone moving back as you bend from the creases of your hip, folding the torso forward and down over the legs, or between the legs in this case. Taking whatever variation of your hands feels good for you. You can rest the hands on the floor, maybe walk them between the feet, or you can engage in a bind, holding onto the big toes with your fingers or holding onto your ankles. Again, press the feet into the floor, lift the arches. Draw a line of energy up through the inner thighs, inner legs, and then feel a lift through the tailbone and through the sits bones. Feel that energy moving up towards the sky. And the upper body just surrenders into the fold, forehead, crown towards the earth. Holding here 5 breaths, 1-to-1 breath ratio. Strong through the feet and legs. Surrender through the upper body. Release the hands back to your hips. So hands at the hip creases. Press down into the feet. Maybe even soften the knees a bit here. As you inhale, lift the torso halfway and hold. So feel strong through the core, strong through the feet, strong through the legs. Elongate through the spine, holding as you draw the low belly back up towards the spine for support. On your next inhale, press down into the feet, unhinging from the hips as you lift the torso back to standing and upright. And then as you're ready, step both feet back up to the front edge of your mat. So coming back to mountain pose here, facing the short edge of your mat. And once again, finding mountain pose, connecting with the soles of your feet. Feel the energy of the exhale, the energy moving down through the legs and into the soles of the feet. But feel light through the upper body here. We're going to move into a balancing pose, tree pose. So we're going to use the right leg as the standing leg first. So I don't want you necessarily to lean into that right leg before you lift the left foot, but elongate through the right side of the body. So just press down into that right foot and lengthen all the way up through the right side of your body. And then begin to lift the left foot. You can place the left foot either on the inside of the right shin, or lower leg, or the inner thigh. Or you can keep the toes on the floor and just plant the heel on the inner ankle of the right leg. So feel that left knee move back. So we're externally rotating the left hip. So that left knee moves back, extending straight out to the left side. Grounding down through that right foot, right leg. Again, elongate. So let's take the hands together at the heart center. So we're elongating up through the torso now as you press down into the right foot. Breathe into the back side of your body so the ribs don't stick out. And feel a little pressure between the left foot and the inner thigh or inner leg of the right leg, and press the right leg back into the foot. Same energy between the palms. Palms are gently pressing together here. And then take whatever expression of the pose you wish with your hands and arms. You can leave them here or extend the arms upward towards the sky. Let's take 3 more even breaths. So allow yourself not to fall out of the pose. But on an exhale, releasing the hands back to the heart center and releasing the left foot back to the floor, parallel to the right foot. Take a moment to just observe, notice, and feel. And then preparing to take the same pose with the left standing leg. So first we're just going to press down into that left foot and elongate all the way up through the left side of the body. Placing the right foot wherever you are in your tree pose. So it could be just the heel on the inner ankle, it could be the lower leg, inside of the lower leg, or inside the inner thigh of the left leg. So just to be clear, the right foot is pressing into the left leg and the right knee is moving back, finding that external rotation of the right hip. Bring the hands together at the heart center. And as you do this, press down into the left foot to elongate all the way up through the whole body. Hands at the heart, now breathing into the back body, drawing the ribs back and over the hips. And then taking the arms into whatever expression of the pose feels perfect for you. 3 breaths, even breaths. Without falling out of the pose, releasing the hands back to the heart center and gently releasing the right foot back to the floor next to the left. Finding mountain pose. And just checking in. So now let's take your hands to your hips, walk the feet as wide as the mat and let the toes gently point outward. And then place the hands now together at your heart center and we're going to find our way into a squat. So be careful of your knees here, but gently sitting the hips down between the heels. And, go as far as you comfortably can. Maybe your hips come all the way down between the heels. Or maybe they're just halfway down. And if you're all the way down, gently pressing the elbows into the inner knees, pressing the hands together at the heart. Notice and feel the energy of the feet pressing down into the earth. Feel the energy of the hips and pelvis moving down towards the earth. And then engage in that root lock, so gently drawing the pelvic floor in and up. So feel all of that downward moving energy through the legs and pelvis, but drawing up through the pelvic floor. Lift and elongate the spine, lift through the chest, lift through the crown of the head. And let's take 3 more breaths in your squat. Settling the energy down into the feet and legs. Release the hands. Take one hand behind you on the floor, one hand in front of you on the floor, and just release the hips down to the floor, taking a seat here. So here's where you may need your blanket. You may want to sit on your blanket and just take the blanket under the sit bones, and that's totally optional, but we're going to take the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall apart. So bound angle pose. And so we want to feel the pelvis kind of moving and tilting forward. And that's where the blanket will help you. If you're not doing that, you're going to collapse into the low back. So find that neutral pelvis or slightly tilting forward with the pelvis, and lift and elongate up and out of your pelvis through the spine. And then we're going to fold forward here. So as you're folding forward, you're elongating through the spine, you're bending from the creases of the hip, and then folding forward over the legs. Soles of the feet pressing together, knees pressing down towards the floor, and folding. Once you move to your maximum capacity of the fold, then just surrender the spine. You can round the spine a little bit and just surrender here. Let's take 3 breaths. Even breath. Feeling rooted through the seat, rooted through the legs. Begin to walk your hands back in, lifting the torso upright, coming out of your fold. So you may, for this next pose, a seated twist, you may want to stay on the blanket or not. Draw the hands to the knees and draw the knees together. So feet are on the floor, knees are drawing up and in towards the chest, and we are seated. So holding on to the right leg, the right knee. So wrap your hands around the right shin, extend the left leg long and flat on the floor. So we're hugging this right knee in towards the chest. Right foot is on the floor, just inside the left inner thigh. And we're going to move into a twist. You may want to take the right foot and cross it over the left leg and place it on the floor outside of the left thigh. And that's optional. Or just keep it on the floor on the inner left thigh. So let's wrap the left arm around the front of the right shin. And inhale, sweep the right arm up to the sky alongside the ear. And then exhale, sweep the right arm down behind you, placing the hand on the floor. So hand or fingertips on the floor behind you. And then inhale again, lengthen and elongate through the spine. And as you exhale, twist the torso to the right. So feel the connection of the sit bones to the earth, the sole of the right foot to the earth, and the back of the left leg to the earth. And with each inhale, elongate, and with each exhale, find your twist. And then hold for about 3 more breaths. So deepen the breath here, feeling the organs being massaged with the breath. On an inhale, release the twist. Untwist, moving the torso back to center. Release both hands down to the floor alongside the body. Extend the right leg straight and step the left foot in. So drawing the knee up in towards the chest. Left foot to the floor, either inside the right thigh, or you can step it to the outside of the right thigh, crossing that leg over. And then hug in the left shin, the left knee with the right arm. So wrap that right arm around the shin. Inhale, reach the left arm up overhead, elongating. And exhale, sweep the arm down and behind you, fingertips or palm to the floor behind you. And elongate through the spine as you inhale, and on the exhale, ease your way into this twist, twisting the torso left. Hugging that leg into the body. Inhaling to elongate, exhaling to twist. Once again, feel this connection of the body to the floor. The sit bones, the sole of the left foot, the back of the right leg, the back of the right heel. And then breathe 3 more breaths. So deep breaths here, massaging the organs. begin to release the twist. You can turn your head back to center first, then the torso. Release the arms back down alongside the body. Extend the left leg onto the floor. So both legs are long onto the floor. Actually, let's just go ahead and walk both feet in about halfway. So soles of the feet are on the floor. Make sure you have enough room behind you to lie down onto your mat. So maybe scoot forward a little bit onto your mat so that when you do come to lie down, that your torso is on your mat. And then holding onto the knees with each hand. As you inhale, lift and elongate through the spine, lifting the chest. And then on the exhale, hollow out the belly. And then slowly begin to come to lie down onto your back. You're rolling down onto your back, lengthening through the tailbone, planting one vertebrae at a time onto the floor. And once you come all the way down, just release. And go ahead and leave your feet on the floor here. Again, finding constructive rest pose. Arms are resting alongside the body or maybe even up overhead on the floor. Paying attention to connection of the backside of your body to the earth. And the soles of the feet connected to the earth. The sacrum, the back of the pelvis. The upper back and shoulders. Back of the head, back of the arms, settling and melting the whole backside of your body into the earth. Three more even breaths here, settling, surrender. And then go ahead and lift the knees in towards the chest, giving yourself a nice big hug, squeezing it all in. If you would rather take happy baby, go ahead and do that, catching the hands to the inner or outer arches of your feet and pressing your feet towards the sky as you press your hands back into your feet. Knees draw towards the armpits, tailbone towards the floor. If you're in happy baby, release that back to hugging it in, hugging knees to chest. This time, squeezing it all in, lifting the forehead towards the knees. Take one last inhale here. And on your exhale, release. Extending your legs down onto your mat. So coming into our final resting pose, Shavasana. So I like to allow the body to be open and expansive in Shavasana. So as you extend your legs down onto your mat, maybe open them a little wider, taking your heels to each corner of your mat. And then perhaps doing the same thing with your arms, taking your arms a little wider away from the body. Palms facing up. So wiggle in any way you need to just kind of settle and root down into the earth a little bit more. Sometimes it feels good, if you like, to place the back of your head onto a flat blanket just for a little extra cushion. Allow the breath to fully soften and become natural here. Natural breathing. Allow the nervous system to breathe the body. We're going to move our the body, starting at the crown of the head, working our way down, allowing for full relaxation, whole body. Drawing your awareness to the crown of the head, and feeling the whole scalp, softening the scalp. To the face, softening all of the muscles in the face. Sometimes it feels good to open and close the mouth, stretching the jaw, and then relaxing, letting the teeth part, lips part, softening the scalp, all the muscles in the face, jaw. Awareness into the neck and the throat. Maybe swallow one time here, just then feeling softness and ease in the space. Awareness in the arms, hands, and fingers. Feeling the tips of your fingers. Breath moving here. The breath and the tips of your fingers. Relaxing the hands, the palms, the lower arms, elbows, upper arms, and shoulders. Relax into the front of the chest, in and around the collarbones, the heart center, and the back of the shoulders, the upper back shoulder blades. Soften there. Settle and surrender into the support of the earth. Moving your awareness down into the torso. The rise and fall of the breath in the belly. And soften and smooth any tension in and around the internal organs. Feel the breath move into the low back. Ease and release any tension here. Moving your awareness down into the pelvis and hips. Feel the breath here. Feel the pelvis breathe. Feel the space alive, healthy. Softening any tension in and around the front of the hips. Deep into that space, into the hip flexors. Softening through the backs of the hips, low back, sacrum, glutes. Soften and surrender all of the space. Once again, feel the breath moving here. Legs, softening these big, large muscles in the quadriceps and hamstrings. Knees, lower legs, relaxing the ankles, the feet, moving your awareness to the tips of your toes. Feel the breath move here. Breath from the tips of your toes. exposed side, soft and at ease, melting the front body now slowly into the back side of your body. Moving awareness now to the back side of your body. Feeling the back side of your body soft and at ease, melting into the support of the earth. Feel the whole body being held by the earth. Supported, rooted, connected, at ease. Be here, just be. Back into the body. Begin to deepen the breath and expand the breath in all directions into every cell of your being. Slowly begin to find a movement, waking back up and out of your practice. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Gently move your head from side to side, balancing the brain. Just a couple times each way. As you're ready, inhale, stretch the arms up overhead, stretch through the whole body, down through the feet, up through the fingertips. Inhale, exhale, soften and shrink the whole body back up. Inhale the knees up to the chest. And exhale, roll to either side, resting your head on your arm. Pause, notice and feel. As you're ready, press down into your hands to move your way into your final seat. Moving into whatever comfortable seat that works for you. Sit on a blanket, just completing and sealing in our practice. Draw your hands to your heart center. Notice and feel this wonderful place you've cultivated for yourself with your practice. Sense of grounding, rooting, and connectedness to the earth and to all that is, all that exists. You are connected. You have purpose. Hands together at your heart center. Bow your head to your heart, sealing in your practice. It is my honor and privilege to be your guide today. Thank you so much for joining me.